I publish 400 to 600 unique pieces of content every single month, and I've done that every month for the past few years. And the main reason I do that is because literally after generating tens of millions of dollars online, I know for a fact that the more content that I create, the more money that I make. But I can't just be creating content all the time. I don't really consider myself a content creator. I am a business owner who happens to also create content because it helps me grow my business. And so what I want to share with you guys today is how I have systemized and streamlined my entire content creation process so that I can stay really consistent with content creation, and so that it's really easy for me to create content even when I'm traveling. For example, right now I'm in San Diego, California. I was in Vegas a few days ago. I'm going to go to Orange County a few days after that. I'm speaking at a bunch of events and getting on a bunch of podcasts, and so it's important that I stay consistent even when I'm traveling. But if I had to lug around like a huge suitcase and all this different equipment, and I had to have a videographer fly with me everywhere, I just know that I wouldn't do it. And so I keep everything that I do is super systemized and super simple. I don't even carry a checked-in bag. Everything is, so all of my media equipment that I film when I travel is inside of a roller suitcase that I do for carry-on. So what I want to share with you in this video is my exact content creation process. More specifically, my entire home office setup. I don't think I've ever shown it in depth as I'm about to show you in this video here. And this video you're about to see is actually pulled directly from our YouTube Mastery course, where I show our clients exactly how to use YouTube to grow and scale their business, especially in a time right now where there's like very little trust in the online space. And for the first time ever, we just released something called Scaling School, which is a product that you can get for a disgustingly low amount of money in the description down below, and you can get access to that YouTube Mastery course, plus all of the systems and trainings and funnels and marketing and everything that I've learned generating over $25 million online. So if you want to, this course, what I'm about to show you, this clip is pulled directly from just one training inside of one class inside of this entire Scaling School product. So if you want to get access to that entire thing, we're doing a special for it. You can go and click the first link in the description down below. So with that being said, before I jump into my home office setup, obviously I'm not at home right now. So what is my travel setup? And this is actually not in the video because I haven't added it yet, but I want to show you what my travel setup looks like. My travel setup is very, very simple. I just have two pieces of equipment. One is going to be this Shure mic right here. So this you'll see in my office setup. I have, like, let's say the big boy version of this with an arm attached to it, and it's plugged into a gainer box, which then plugs into my computer. And I like that a lot. I have 4 of those back at home. But why did I specifically buy this one, even though I had 4 more at my house? That's because this one is a lot simpler to use when you're traveling, because the more professional one, you have to plug it into like a gainer box, and that box plugs into your computer. And so I'd have to travel with all these wires and all these cords and all that stuff. And this, I can just plug it directly into the computer through a USB-C, and then I just record the audio in Loom. So very easy to put in my backpack and travel with. And then the other thing that I use is what is on the camera right now, which is almost like essentially a selfie stick. And I can use it for vertical, or I can use it for horizontal videos. And it's the best one. I've gone through like 7 or 8 of them. I've stress tested every single thing that you'll see in this video. I've stress tested all the different versions, and this one's the most stable, the easiest to carry, the sleekest. It's black. I like it. And as you'll see, as I talk about in the rest of the video for my home office tour, every single thing that I talk about in this video is also going to be linked down below. I'm going to put a full list of all the equipment, because probably the number one question I get is like, oh, what equipment do you use for this, or what equipment do you use for that? And so I think it'll be helpful if I can just put it all in one doc and you guys can get access to all of it. So with that being said, don't forget, if you want to get access to the full YouTube Mastery training, not just this one little class, and all of the things that I've learned scaling to $25 million plus, make sure you click the link in the description down below. If you want to get all of the office equipment setup stuff, make sure you click the other link in the description down below, and then you can watch this video on what my office home setup looks like. And by the end of the video, if you want, there's going to be another video after that that covers my exact media pipeline. So what happens after I'm done filming the content? How do we upload it? How do we edit it? How does that process look like? So this is going to be an all-encompassing video of my office setup and how I film content every single week. This is the most comprehensive one I've ever done for this. So feel free to watch this a few times and even share this with somebody on your media team if you want to set up an office similar to mine. And then down below, I'm going to put all the links to pretty much everything that I've talked about, or at least the majority of all the different things I've talked about, so you can get your hands on it pretty easily. So I'm going to start outside the desk area first, as I don't really talk about that, but it's important. And then I'm going to end up going from the bottom all the way to the top, everything that's inside the office. So the first and foremost thing that you need to know when you're creating content is audio is the most important thing. Like, the audio here may even not be that great that I'm shooting with you, because I'm shooting this on a phone with an additional mic, an external mic that I'm plugging into the phone. It's a Shure mic. So I use that mic whenever I'm traveling, and I'll put that link, like I said, down below. But that's a great one just to use with a phone. And then when you're on trips or vacations or anything like that, and you still want to film content, it's much better than a regular iPhone because it's more directional. So that mic is now coming towards me so that I can talk at it. So way better than just by itself. And it allows you to have what is in essence like a mobile filming station, which is just literally the mic, and then the camera iPhone is good enough for the majority of content that we will be shooting. But the reason I said that it may not sound amazing right now is because the first thing you need to know when it comes to content is that the most important thing is not the camera, it's actually the audio. So nobody really wants to sit through any kind of crappy audio where the audio sounds terrible. And the most important thing when it comes to audio that I hear when I watch other YouTube videos, other content, is people having they don't have enough dampeners in their content setup. So they have too many things going on, where a traditional room is obviously 4 squares. And so if it's small, when you say something, I talk, it goes and hits and bounces off everywhere. And that's what essentially creates echoes. And you don't want echoes, obviously, in your videos, or it really lowers the quality. Another really bad part of a lot of offices is actually going to be glass. So although this is a really cool view right here, glass is really bad because it's coming and bouncing back as I'm talking here. So although glass is great, most of the time when I'm filming, I actually lower these blinds right here, which I custom installed these blinds to be blackout blinds. So what I had previously was just regular blinds, and you could see through it. And I'm going to talk about light here in a moment, but that was really ruining the background and how I adjusted the light, et cetera, et cetera. So instead I built these blackout blinds. I had them custom installed, but the benefit as well is that it also removes more surfaces for the audio to bounce off of. So let me open this back up real quick. Okay, since we're still on audio, I just want to show you, these are called sound dampeners. And actually when I originally installed this office, I spent a lot of money on Amazon to buy these sound dampeners because someone told me that the quality of the sound dampeners makes a difference. I can tell you right now, it doesn't make a difference at all. You could buy the cheap ones, because in my podcast room setup, I bought the cheap ones, and it's just as good, if not even better. So you can buy these for incredibly cheap on Amazon. Like I said, a link down below. But the reason I have this here is that if you see me right here talking to the mic, when I'm talking this way, my voice is bouncing off of the walls that way. So you'll see the majority of the audio dampening stuff is going to be over here, where if this stuff wasn't here, like when I first moved into this house, it was crazy how much of the audio was going back and forth. Also, you'll see these are called bass traps here. So another really bad area where audio can kind of bounce a lot on is in corners of the wall. So you can see right here, because if I talk, it goes ding, 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 right? Just like that. So you want to try to you can have them in the corners as well. You can have them on any kind of hard surfaces on top of that. You can see I have them on this door here. That's my bathroom. I have them in the corners up top. I have them up there as well. I used to have them on the ceiling, but they kept on falling down, so I essentially took them down. I don't think that part is necessary. And then the final piece I will say about sound is I really recommend getting a rug if you can. Well, now you're showing them I drink too many Pellegrinos, but the rug here is really solid as a sound dampener as well, because it will also absorb the sound. So imagine this room with nothing, and it's literally just a square room, which most of your offices, home offices will be, and it's just like ding, 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 ding. So the more things you can put in there that can absorb sounds, couches, carpets, sound dampeners, bookshelves, books, anything like that where it has the ability to absorb some sound, it's gonna make it really, really beneficial for your video so you're not kind of bouncing all over the place here, okay? So that is mostly what sound is. I'm gonna talk about the actual mic I use in a moment. Now let's shift gears and talk about light for 1 second. So light is also incredibly important for videos. What I have done, I'm gonna talk about that specific light that I installed right here called the flapjack. I'll get more into that in a moment. But like I said earlier, what I did was I installed a blackout blind here because a lot of people just use the natural light that comes in from your from the windows or your doors in your office if they're glass doors. But the problem with that is now you're always susceptible to, is it sunny outside? Is it cloudy outside? What time of day is it, et cetera, et cetera. So ironically enough, actually the best thing you could ever do is take full control over the light and just lower it down. And now you have control so you can turn this on, which I'll show you. Echo, turn overhead light on. So that turns this on. I'm a systems guy, as you know. So that turns this light on right here. And so now I can now control the light, and I can even turn it up and down. And I have much more control over how the cameras look versus if I was just susceptible to the outside conditions, okay? So that's a quick thing on light. It's not that important, but just so you guys know, it is somewhat important. Okay, let's talk about the other things I have outside of my office desk, and then we'll get to the office desk. So obviously, all around here you can see I have like a bunch of things that go in my video because my camera is right here facing me this way here. And so what I have learned is that, as you have heard me talk about in different videos here, there's something called status or framing. And what status and framing is like, since even the most ancient times, brains want to categorize something so that it's easier to understand. And we want to categorize things typically in a hierarchical order. This is better than this, that person's smarter than that person, et cetera, et cetera. And so a few ways that you can hack the status game is that whenever you get on video or you shoot a video, if you have a background that gives you status, then without even saying anything, somebody thinks that you have status. So I'm going to give you a few really quick examples of how you can really quickly have status. I know this sounds silly, but it's literally hardwired into our brains. So first is this Shure mic. I'm going to go more in depth on this in a little bit here, but if you're filming a video and you're watching a podcast and you see somebody just having the arm of this mic in here, then you know that they create a lot of content very likely and they've invested into content. So that's just a small frame by itself because this mic's like $1,300. Another example of framing would be like, I've invested quite a bit into building like this all bookshelf behind me. And there's awards. This is framing up here, $1 million I've made here, $1 million I've made there, right? I own a Porsche, so this is the Porsche that I own in a Lego set. I put my watches behind here in these turning things as well, which I think are pretty cool. And so like all of these, first of all, it showcases my personality, who I am, things I love, like watches and cars and you know, my friends, stuff like that. And this is a mug I made when I was little, obviously not very great, but you kind of get the idea behind it. And so now when somebody immediately clicks on my ad or they see my ad or they immediately see the first 3 seconds of a video, most people talk about the hook being the first 30 seconds of like what you're saying. But what you don't realize is that we also have a lot of ways that we can talk without actually speaking. And one of the ways is going to be your background, your status. And I know some of you watching this video probably know who Alex Ramosi is. And you know that he created most of his videos sitting in a closet with nothing in the background. But what you may not know is that that was a status play in itself. He is essentially saying, I don't need all this fancy stuff in the background. I'm smart enough, my content's gonna be good enough, that's the only stuff that you care about. That is the exact same status play that maybe I'm making with cool stuff in the background. It's just in a different form. Another great example of that is like when people say, I don't need money, money's bad. Everybody who makes money is bad. They're essentially trying to raise their status in the hierarchical of society by saying that I don't need money, I'm above money. All those people over there chasing after money, they're bad people, right? It's so silly them playing those games. I'm way above that. That in and of itself is a status game. So hopefully you're seeing how this stuff works, and some of it's verbal, like I said, but some of it is also nonverbal, okay? So I think that's everything here. Also, I get questions all the time on where I get this light from. I will put that in the link down below with everything else. But this is really great because, once again, nonverbal communication, whenever I'm shooting videos and this is in the background, I don't even have to say my company name. I can just talk like right here, and this is nonverbal communication where this is the background. Another great example would be a shirt I wear that has scaling systems on it, or if I want to wear nicer clothes that also signal status on top of that, okay? So that's pretty much all of the outside of what's in the content. Let's start on the floor and go up now. So this is a Herschel chair. I actually forget the exact name for it. It's like the expensive one. It's like $2,200. It's like the Aeron chair. Is it worth it? I don't really know, if I'm being honest with you. I kind of got it, and I don't really feel that. I had a Walmart chair for $100 before this, and that I had for 5 years, and I got this one. It might make a difference. The fact that I can't tell you is it 20 times of a difference probably gives you enough information. But I am sitting at my desk all day, so I did want to invest in that. Okay. Second thing is going to be, this is a mat for standing on. I really don't. I don't like standing on hard ground all day long, so this kind of absorbs my feet. So when I'm standing on the standing desk portion of my desk, then it allows me to stand for much longer than I typically would. I'm going to get into the standing desk portion here in a moment, but let me finish down here. You'll also see this is the newest thing that I got right here. This is a walking treadmill, so I'll turn it on for you really quickly. So this is my newest thing that I added so that I can kind of get more steps in a day because I'm standing in my office all day. It actually works pretty well. I tried to get one a while ago, but they all looked really bad. But this one is actually had great reviews on Amazon, and it works really well. I've had it now for a week. I've used it for all of my meetings on top of that. And I've really enjoyed it. So like when I'm on a meeting, I'll just be walking while I'm talking, or I'll be standing. And by doing both those things is also how I like kind of stay healthy and energized and like a little bit in a leaner shape than if I was literally just sitting down in my chair all day long, right? And it allows me also, when I'm filming videos, a lot of times I film videos standing up because it gives me, how, once again, frame how they're watching the video, how you present yourself in the video. If I was like, hey guys, it's Ravi, and I just want you to know. Obviously, that's gonna be different. Be like, what's going on, guys? Ravi Abuvala here. Okay, so you can see how energized I'm gonna be is how energized they are, and so this helps me kind of be more energized. Nothing else to see down here. I do create like little wire organizer things that I think is helpful, so I can keep things organized. But let's now take a step up, and we'll go to the actual standing desk. So I use something called Uplift Desk. I think that this was $1,300 because I got the one that had a nicer like wood finish up top. And as you can come over here and see, it has multiple different memory settings here. So this, number 1 is sitting, number 2 is going to be standing, and then number 3 is actually going to be for when I have my treadmill underneath me as well. So it's going to be a little bit higher. I'll let this get up to 2 and I'll show you 3. It'll be a little bit higher so that I can, so this is 46, and then this is 47.5 because that's about an inch in as far as the height is concerned. So that allows me to then type and work while I'm on the treadmill, okay? As far as the brand is concerned, I love this brand. I've had this desk for multiple years. It's incredible. I like a nicer finish up top. I think it does look good. I will say what I will link down below is my girlfriend recently got another standing desk from Amazon. It's motorized, it has all these things, all that. And I think it was like $100 or $200. No, I think it was like $100. It's like maybe $80. And it's not as big as this for sure, but it's big enough. And it's like has a decent finish on the top. So it's definitely like a budget option of this. And she got that. We put it in our guest room that also doubles as her office. And I think it's a really great setup. So if I was on a budget, I would probably get that. But to me, it is very important to have both a standing and a sitting one, as I think that most people sit too often all day, including myself. Okay, so that covers the standing desk. This is obviously my remote control for my treadmill desk, and then this is going to be my headphones to the audio stuff, which I'll talk about here in a second. So let's go up to the top. Before we talk about all the equipment, this is just a thing that came with UpDesk, which is like a nice little writing area pad, so I don't actually ruin the desk itself. You obviously need your own special mug. This is my girlfriend's family got this for me when I work. But in all seriousness, I keep always a blank piece of paper and a pen on my desk. This is so that if someone says something during a call or a coaching call or something like that, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a great content idea, or I want to think about or talk about that later, I can just type it in and write it down here and then transfer it over to my notes or Asana at a different points. Let's go to the actual mic setup itself. So this is called a Shure mic, and this is a Rode mic, and this is it is a Shure mic. It's a Shure mic attached to an arm here. And like I said, this is about, I don't know, like $900, $1,100. I bought it 3 or 4 years ago, but I really like it because it's very directional. So I have a lot of people in my house, and I have my house manager here, my girlfriend will have people over, whatever else it is. And so I can have the door closed, and there'd be a lot of noise going on outside, vacuuming. And because it's a directional mic, I can just talk to it like this, and it just picks up my voice. if you were to invest in nothing else in this entire video that I'm talking about here, the mic, I would say, is the main thing you need to invest in, because first of all, it gives you the status, like I talked about before, less and less now that more and more people have it, but more importantly, it makes your videos easier to hear, which is obviously very, very important. This is connected to what's known as a Focusrite something or the other. I actually don't know what I think it's called, like a mixer or something like that. But it goes from my the Shure mic. You can't just have it by itself. You need this thing to combine it with it. My headphones plug into here, and then this plugs into my computer itself. So if you come over on the front of this here, you can see on the Focusrite, as I talk, you can see this is kind of lit up as green. And then this is the volume to your headphones over here. And then this is detect monitor, essentially means, do you want to hear your own voice when you're talking? You can turn that off, or you can turn that on right there, okay? So that's the Focusrite, very simple to use. We'll go over here to the actual Mac Mini itself. So I'm an Apple fan. If you're not using Apple, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I like it because I can write on my iPhone, notes, whatever else it is, and it syncs across all my devices. Now, a quick word on, I get this question all the time, a MacBook versus like a MacBook Pro versus a Mac Mini. So I got the Mac Mini a few years ago, and I essentially got it because I had my Mac laptop set up in my office here, but I was kind of getting tired of every time at the end of the day, or whenever I didn't want to work in the office, I would have to like unplug all of these cords and all this stuff, and then I would like go somewhere else and it would die and I have to plug it back in. And so for me, it wasn't very a systemized way to do stuff. And it's also a business write-off. And so what I did was I ended up actually keeping my MacBook Pro, which is a newer one, 16 inches, and then I got this Mac Mini on top of this, and that was one of the best decisions I've ever made as far as investment purchases are concerned, because this is way more powerful than the MacBook Pro. I can always keep it set up and on it here. I literally come in the morning, I type in my password, and boom, I'm working right away. And then like, let's say my girlfriend and I want to go for coffee somewhere, I want to go relax on the couch at the end of the day, I don't have to unplug anything. My MacBook Pro is already over there plugged in. So I literally just sit on the couch, pull up my computer, and it's very low activation energy, which means I'm spending more time working and less time like essentially trying to work, if you will. Connected to my Mac Mini right here is going to be two different, I think these are called hubs or ports. So Mac Mini only has like one or two USB-C ports that you can put stuff into, but that's obviously not gonna be enough for some of the stuff that we're doing. So I got these additional hubs so that I can have multiple USBs, USB-Cs, but even more importantly is actually going to be SD cards. So once again, me being a systemized person, one of the things that I always hated doing was I would sometimes film with like two cameras and one audio source, like in our podcast room. And when I filmed like that, I would have to take out all 3 SD cards, and then I'd plug in one at a time right here, upload it, plug in one, upload it, plug in one, upload it. So eventually what I did was I got 2 hubs, one hub plugging into the other hub. And now whenever I'm uploading a video, like I filmed a podcast just the other day, I can come in here, plug in all 3 at the same time, transfer it over to Google Drive, and then format it when I'm done. And like, I literally just upload it to Google Drive, and then I can go to the gym, whatever else it is, and they're all being uploaded immediately. My team starts working on it right away. So that was a huge benefit of me getting multiple of those. If you only have one camera at a time, then you can only use one. We'll move up one stage here and talk about the monitor. So obviously this is a aftermarket monitor. I don't know how many inches it is. It's a lot. I want to say like, I don't know. It's either 30 or 60, which I know is a huge difference between both of them, but that shows you how much I know. But I like it. I had multiple monitors here before. I really didn't like that. This is one clean monitor, all one view here. It's a Samsung. I'll link it down below. And so it allows me to have multiple screens up at the same time. And then there is a little app called, a Better Snap tool. And so what I can do is if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to pull up Google at the same time right here, I can actually snap this open to the right, and I can snap this to the left, and bada bing, bada boom, I am now like looking at 2 things at the exact same time and working. So I really like the wide monitor for that reason there. And I can add 3 things or 4 things if I wanted to have all 4, but I'm not a coder or anything like that. So I mostly just use 2 at the same time. So I like a larger monitor. That's been really big for me. And it allows me also to have like a Zoom call going on while I'm taking notes over here at the same time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty much for the monitor. I'll link it down below like I talked about before. Let's take a step back and look at the light. So this is what's known as a flapjack light. So if we come on the back side of this here, I can adjust the percentage of what I want the light to be. So this is at 29%, this is at 11%, this is at 100%. So depending on what you want how you want your videos to look, you can adjust this a little bit around. But I like this a lot because it's like a low profile thing, and it allows me to, like I said, I connect it to my Amazon, and then I can just ask it to turn it on and off without me having to do anything, okay? The next thing is going to be my monitor arm. So I'll link this down below as well, but this has a full like 360-degree motion to it. So this allows me to move my monitor up and down, left and right. I never move it after I set it up one time, but you can if you want to. And then I'm going to get to my cameras in a second, but I have 2 cameras here and then 2 arms that go along with it. So this is what we call camera A. This is going to be the camera that looks at me while I'm talking, my main camera. As I'm looking, if you look at my YouTube videos, I'm at my desk. It's also the one that is plugged into my computer. So there's something called a cam link port. It's like a little plug that you use, and you can plug your camera directly into either your MacBook or your computer or your Mac Mini, whatever else it is, and then you can use a professional camera as your webcam. And so I do that now, and like I said, going back to status a little bit, like I'll have a meeting with my lawyers, or I'll have a meeting with like somebody I've never met before, and you know, I start the meeting, I get on the meeting, and they see this like professional background, and like, you know, they see this professional camera, and almost always they say something about it, and then they almost always look at my content online, because they can tell without, I don't ever say, oh, I'm a content creator, but they can tell without me saying anything that obviously I take this stuff very seriously. So that's called a cam link that plugs the camera into the actual computer. And this is just a straight up and down arm that goes above my monitor. And then this is another camera I have. This is another arm. This is called an L-shaped arm. Actually, I just made that up. I don't know what it's called, but it sounds like it's an L-shaped arm. And this one, it goes over here. And I create this one, if you'll look at this view real quick, this one over here, let me show you. This is for our short form content. So as you can see, I'll let you stay there for 1 second. I'm gonna click record. And then as I walk over here, as I'm talking to my camera, you should be able to see how like I can just talk like this, and then we can repurpose all of my long form content or anything I'm doing coaching calls as short form content using this camera here. So this is a little bit of a bonus, because you can technically take camera A, your main camera right here, and have that be for short form content. But you have to understand that I've worked with a lot of people that have created literally billions of views in short form content. And if you can get it vertical from the beginning, you should definitely do that. And also, if you'll be able to tell, this is a little bit further back than this camera here, because what we have found is that the more like background and environment you have in short form content, the better the videos perform. So I purposely got this other camera here that's a little bit further back than what my camera A video does, so that we can have like a little bit more of a background, and then they can of course always cut in, okay? This one is not connected to my, my computer, and so instead, whenever I am done filming, like I said, I'll just open up, pop this SD card, which is right here, and I'll put it inside of my computer. Okay, so this is called camera B angle, and we put it over on this side there. Okay, as far as the cameras themselves, they're called an A6400. We tried a bunch of different cameras. We tried the Blackmagic, the Canon. We tried a bunch of different ones, but once again, going back to systems and how I like to have everything set up, I have 4 of these cameras now, 2 in here, 2 over there, and I just like the simplification of it. It's very easy to use. It's point and click. I do a lot of my own filming. I don't really have a videographer here. Once again, for the system side of things, I like to keep it simple, and so this is something so silly and easy a caveman could do it. So final piece I will show you, if we come over here on this side, is going to be filming the actual content itself. So let's say that it's Wednesday morning, it's 6 a.m., which is the time I choose to film my content, and I need to film some content. I'll have other videos that actually show you, how we come up with content and what the full process is, but I just want to kind of show you, I physically get to my desk, I pull up maybe the script or whatever else it is, and then I'll turn on this camera right here, which is connected to my, my main camera. I click record, because that's how you get like the really clean shots. I'll come over here, I'll turn on this camera. I open it up. That's the other reason I like the A6400, is because it has that flip screen so I can see it, right? Let me click record. Right, so now I have the A6400, so I'm talking like this. I have a camera B, I have camera A, and then for my actual filming on the computer, the funny thing is that now, the majority of the time, I'm literally just using Loom, because Loom will allow me to have camera A, it's filming and it's me showing what's on my screen, which is the majority of my videos most of the time. If you wanted to, you could just have obviously the camera only version of Loom, which would be just recording this main thing here, and you can see this is the background of the camera. But I like, and I'm going to show you a little hack that I like to do to have both of them. But by doing it this way, I don't really need my editing team because we put out 3 videos a week. So if I have to have my editing team edit every video end to end, a 30-minute or an hour-long video, then I would be waiting on them a lot of the time. So the hack here, this is probably the most valuable thing in this entire video, is that you can film stuff just using Loom and edit it inside Loom, and you can have a full YouTube video that performs well, like a few of my past YouTube videos that I didn't even use my editing team at all. I just shot it on Loom, which I'm going to show you how I did that in a second. And then the other thing, of course, let me just pull up, I think I have Zoom open here. So if I wanted to start a Zoom meeting, just to kind of show you what that would look like right here, if I start a Zoom meeting, I can also use that same camera that's plugged into my computer, camera A. So that's what I said when I get on meetings, this is the Zoom meeting that I have. So let me end this. And the final piece that I'll show you is when I am filming something, so I use this little Better Snap tool to put it in the right frame for Loom videos or for YouTube. And then I'll start a Loom video. I'll make it specific window, the window that I'm going to be filming in. I click start recording. I'll skip that. Everything's on, mic's working, this all looks good, that looks good here. And then what I'll typically do is the most important part of any YouTube video is always going to be the hook. So I typically start with my hook with the main camera. So I'm talking to the camera, so it looks like I'm doing like not a screen share right here. So this is how I started. And if you, I know this is minute, but it's important. If you look at my mouse down here, I just put it on the second step of this video, which is where my face becomes smaller. And so just watch this camera real quick. This is all going to be in the video, so I don't have to edit anything in PostScript. So, hey, my name is Ravi, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I set up my office. So the first thing that I do, boom, immediate transition. I didn't need to do any post editing. There was nothing fancy or anything about it. And I could just obviously skip my editing team, which is nice, like I said, because if they're overwhelmed or you don't have an editing team, you can keep things super simple. And then in Loom afterwards, you can actually trim your video inside of Loom, which is what I do for even my most recent video sales letter. And you can literally split the clips and then save it, duplicate it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is everything that you need to know in essence about the office setup that I have. I'm gonna put all the links to everything that I talked about, or at least the majority that I can find, what I talked about down below. I will stress the most important thing is that you have a setup that you will use every single day or 3 times a week, or whatever the times you're going to use it. And you want to lower activation energy as much as possible. So if every time you have to film, you got to pull the camera out of the closet, you got to set up all this mic stuff, and then when you're done filming, you got to transfer it from your phone to your computer, and then you got to sit and edit the whole video, and then you got to, that's doable for sure. But if that takes so much work, you're almost never going to do it, which is why our company's name is Scaling with Systems. And what we will do is we systemize it from end to end. So everything from how we come up with the ideas to filming it itself, to uploading it, to then how it gets edited, how it gets chopped up, how it gets distributed, how it gets published, et cetera, et cetera. So make it as easy as possible, lower the activation energy. And the second thing is, if you took nothing else from this video, please, for the love of God, get some good audio, because that's one of the most important things. Thanks, I'll see you guys in the next video.